We will talk about how to enjoy reading a scientific paper that led to the Nobel Prize. Using these practical steps, we will be able to read a paper in a field that we are unfamiliar with. Hi everyone, welcome to the Foundational Skills in Life Sciences podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Synaptologica. We discuss the skills that life science scholars learn, use, and improve throughout professional activities. Your benefit is expressed in my motto, learn the skills, enjoy academic life. In the last episode, we talked about one important step before reading the milestone article of 2023 Nobel Laureates. The step was, Step 7, review our fundamental questions, or Cuestiones Fundamentales, for reading the abstract, introduction, and discussion sections, that is the AID or AID sections of a paper. This way, Cuestiones will aid us in understanding the AID sections of a paper, which in turn will aid us in grasping the overall meaning of the paper. If you have not listened to the last episode yet, please enjoy episode number 12. If you have not listened to any part of the mini-series on reading a paper, please start listening from episode number 7. That was the start of the mini-series. Today's episode is number 13. It is part 6 of the mini-series on reading. We will gradually start working on milestone Article 1 of the laureates of the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine 2023. We have 2 steps today. They are, Step 8, confirm the paper identity by checking the basic information. Step 9, map the major sections by scanning the paper. Today we would like to make sure that the paper we opened is what we would want to read. Then we would like to get a very crude idea about how the paper looks like before reading it in detail. Just to let you know, after today's episode, we have at least several more practical steps for reading the paper. I would like to share them with you in the following episodes. Let's get started. Step 8. Confirm the paper identity by checking the basic information. I will list 3 basic items or identifiers to check in the paper. By checking these items, we will confirm that it is the paper that we have been looking for. 1. The journal name and the publication year. 2. The title of the paper. And 3. The author names. Here are some explanations. Step 8-1. Confirm the journal name and publication year. Let's confirm the journal name and the publication year. Our milestone article was published in the journal Immunity in the year 2005. If you want to confirm more details, the paper was published on pages 165 through 175 in volume 23. These pieces of information are printed at the very top of the first page if you are reading the PDF file of the article. They are also shown near the top if you are reading the web page of the article. Step 8-2. Confirm the title of the paper. The title of our milestone article is, quote, Suppression of RNA Recognition by Toll-like Receptors, the Impact of Nucleoside Modification and the Evolutionary Origin of RNA, close quote. I will make a comment on the title in a minute. Step 8-3. Confirm the authors. There are 4 names in the author list. The first author is Dr. Katalin Karikó, and the last author is Dr. Drew Weissman. They are the Nobel laureates. Comment for Step 8. In Step 8, we confirmed the journal name, the publication year, the title, and the authors. Among these identifiers, only the title contains scientific information. Now, you have heard the title of the paper. You must have also read the title yourself. May I ask you a question then? Did you understand this title? Again, the title is, quote, Suppression of RNA Recognition by Toll-like Receptors, the Impact of Nucleoside Modification and the Evolutionary Origin of RNA, close quote. It was difficult for me to understand it at first. I think many of you would agree with me. It is still helpful to read the title early on because it will give us a hint of what we expect to see in the paper. But before reading the paper content, I would say there's no need for us to try hard to understand it. The title is the shortest section in the entire paper, and because it is the shortest, it is the most difficult to understand. This is especially true if we do not have enough knowledge about the background information or if we do not know the content of the paper. For this reason, we will come back to the title in a later episode after reading the AID sections. You will be surprised to find that it will become much easier to understand the title if you read it after reading the major sections of the paper. Why Step 8 is necessary. In Step 8, we confirmed the journal name, the publication year, the title, and the authors. Step 8 is necessary because by confirming these basic identifiers of the paper, we want to make sure that we have opened the milestone article that we wanted to read. Step 8 is also necessary because it will give us an opportunity to read the title. The title will give us a sneak peek into the scientific content of the paper at this early step. It will be helpful even if we understand the meaning of the title and the entire paper only later, after deeper reading of the AID sections. If the paper identifiers are correct, good. Let's proceed to the next step. But if the identifiers happen to be incorrect, there was a mistake somewhere. Let's repeat looking for the online article again. Please go back to the episode number 10 and follow steps 4 through 6 there. Now that we have confirmed that we have the right paper to read in front of us, we will move on to the next step. Step 9. Map the major sections by scanning the paper. In this step, let's look for the major sections of the paper to get a very crude idea about how the paper looks like. The names of the sections are also called the section captions. They are usually typed in bold fonts. In some journals, they are typed in all capital letters or in larger font sizes. So the section names stand out clearly from the regular text. You will find them easily in any paper. Our milestone article has the following 6 major sections. I will list them in the order that they appear in this paper. First, you will see the summary, then the introduction, then the results. It is followed by the discussion, then the experimental procedures, and the last section is the references. Please scan the paper and identify all those sections yourself. After you locate those section names, let's check roughly how long each section is. You would simply want to know, for example, whether a section is much less than 1 page long or 2 pages long, to get the feel for what you would expect to find in the paper when you read it. When I scanned our milestone article 1, I found that there was a good balance among the lengths of individual sections. In the PDF format of the paper, you will find the actual lengths of the sections in the following way. The summary is a single paragraph, about 1/5 of a page long. The introduction section is slightly less than 1 page long. The results section is roughly 2.5 pages long, excluding the figures and their legends. The discussion section is slightly less than 2 pages long. The experimental procedures section is almost 1 page long, and the references section is slightly less than 1 page long with 32 cited papers. I would also check how long the entire paper is. In a PDF file, our milestone article is 11 pages long, including the references section. So it is long, but it is not too long. Comment for Step 9. I have one comment about the font sizes of the text. On the article website, the text in all the sections is presented with the same font size. But in a PDF file, the experimental procedures and the references sections are typed in a smaller font size than the other sections. A smaller font size might have been necessary to reduce the number of pages printed on paper. Fewer pages of a printed journal will lead to lower printing costs. And a PDF file must be a copy of how the paper was printed on paper. But there's no such worry about the lengths for online articles. This must be the reason why the same font size is used in all the sections on the website. Why Step 9 is necessary. In Step 9, we scanned the paper roughly. We looked for the major sections, and we mapped their locations and their lengths. We have also noted the overall length of the paper. Step 9 is necessary because by surveying the major sections, we can get an idea about how the paper looks like. By taking this step, we will learn the structural organization or the layout of the paper. This way, we will be able to create our bird's eye view of it. I admit that such an overview will be superficial before actually reading the content in detail. We focused only on the overall structure. But having an early overview is helpful, even if it is a rough one. It is a powerful tool for navigating the structure, and it will help us understand the author's intention when we go through the content later. Step 9 is simple, short, and quick, but I find it very effective. If I read without a paper structure in mind, I tend to be passive. I tend to read passively as the information is presented to me by the authors. I feel like I'm reading without a purpose and without knowing where to go. In contrast, if I start reading with a paper structure in mind, I tend to be active. I feel like I'm more in control of what to read, and I feel relaxed when I know what to expect to come in the paper. We discussed a similar guiding effect of another step. It was to ask the fundamental questions, or questiones fundamentales, before and during reading papers. With the questiones in mind, we will be able to read papers actively. We discussed it in the last episode number 12. Well, this paper scanning step for locating the major sections might be a personal approach for me, but I hope you can relate too. Summary. Let's wrap up. Today's episode was part 6 of a mini-series on reading. We have discussed 2 steps for starting to read a paper. Step 8. Confirm the paper identity by checking the basic information, such as the journal name, the publication year, the title, and the author names. Step 9. Map the major sections by scanning the paper. We made sure that the paper we opened was what we wanted to read. Then we mapped the locations and lengths of the major sections and measured the overall length of the paper. These steps will help us create a bird's eye view of the paper structure. They will also help us better understand the author's intention when we actually read the content later. This is it for today. Your action. If you have not experienced the paper scanning process of Step 9, please give it a try before reading the paper. Scan the paper for the major sections. Please tell me whether you find it helpful or not. Send me an email at ideas@synaptologica.com. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of Foundational Skills in Life Sciences. I am Dr. Synaptologica. I'm looking forward to connecting with you again. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.